Welcome to the Block Sit Down. This is the One Foot In podcast. We take one foot in to the college football realm, world, whatever you want to call it. And today we'll be doing the post game reactions and reviews over the week 9 games. We have the 2 minute drill or the it's the 2 minute drill because it's the post game. I'm gonna give you a whole bunch of slated games and go over the scores of that. Before that, we have a couple games that we want to highlight and go more into detail with. And the first game on that list, but before we get into that, actually, how are y'all doing today?
I'm chilling. I'm not gonna lie, tired. I'm tired. I had to wake up. Like one of our I had like a little fireplace thing that didn't work, so we had to like change that shit out. So they came over today. They had to come change that shit out. So yeah, I had to watch over, make sure they don't damage my house and shit. But yeah, other than
Yeah,
that, other
what
than
they did.
what
What were
they
you gonna do about it?
I'm like, hey yo, you want to fix that shit up, gang? I'm
And
gonna
was
pay
it
you.
like, no, it was already like that when we got here.
Hell nah, that'd be crazy. But yeah, that's really
BJ,
it.
BJ,
Mm, I'm here.
you're here. Body on the
Yeah.
court. But my day's good. My day's good.
I'm
I'm
about to
glad
say.
y'all asked me
I was about to ask.
because y'all care so much about me. Anyways,
I care.
but we got some college football games to get into. Let's get into the first matchup. We got number 8 Ole Miss going on the road to number 13 Oklahoma. Who on this podcast had Ole Miss winning? VJ?
I don't remember.
Yeah,
What the fuck?
yeah,
I don't remember.
yeah. Can't remember what you ate last night. Anyways, they did it pretty
Wingstop.
convincingly. They did it pretty. You can remember that, but not remember your pick. Lock in.
Of course. But
Ole
that's
Miss. Ole Miss rolls over Oklahoma, in my opinion. This is the same Oklahoma team from last week. Nothing really has changed. John Mateer is still that guy that can't run the football now. He can barely throw the football. Very inaccurate. And Oklahoma now falls to 6-2. They get into the deeper part of their schedule where they're gonna just continue to just face these top tier opponents. And they dropped the first one. And Ole Miss needs all the credit in the world. Trinidad Chamberlain, he's been questionable in a couple games, especially that loss last week. And they were able to bounce back, and this was a game that Lane Kiffin needed. I think this is his first ranked win at Ole Miss or something along them lines. But Ole Miss now rolls over to 7-1, and again, this is an impressive win for Oklahoma. We thought that defense was gonna try to slow Trinidad and this Ole Miss offense down a lot. But if we look at this scoreboard right here, the freshman wide receiver Winston Watkins. He completely took over this game. He looked unstoppable. It was 4 receptions, but it was a good 4 receptions. Like he it was first downs and he was there. He was everywhere, and I appreciate it. Kawan Lacey, 27 carries for 78 yards. That may sound like a lot of carries for not a lot of yards, but his effectiveness was definitely felt on the field to me. 2 touchdowns to go along with it. But yeah, how did y'all feel about it, VJ?
I'll be honest. I'll give it a warning in advance. I barely watch any of these football games, so I'm gonna just go off what I seen on the box score, not box score, but the score sheet every time I was looking on my phone. Um, from what it seems like Ole Miss had control of this game in my eyes. I didn't see Oklahoma really had like a pure step in terms of the score. Obviously, I can't go in depth on the momentum of the game just because I didn't watch it, but it just seemed like every time I always looked and tuned in to score, Ole Miss just keep having that step and step and step. So I'm assuming their offense was going right, and you just said it from the at least from the stats wise, Oklahoma just seems like they can't capitalize on their things no more. It just seems like their offense isn't really hitting the same. So as far as I see it, just Oklahoma's kind of just on a downwards trend, and they're not facing any easier teams. While Ole Miss, I think the schedule actually gets a tad bit easier. I won't say the easiest, but so it gets
I
it
think
gets.
I think it might be one of the easiest.
Yeah, I know it gets a little easier. So
South Carolina, the Sitdown. Where's that at, VJ? I couldn't fucking tell you. Florida and Mississippi State. It's probably the
yeah,
easiest schedule
that's
left for
that's yeah,
SEC.
that's a pretty good
I,
schedule.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's all I could really say. I just think for sure, like Ole Miss, this is definitely a must win for Ole Miss, especially since now in a sense they could just backtrack and essentially win out. Now it's not in their hands if they can make the SEC championship, but they're in the best spot given that if they win out. So that's all I can really say. What about you, Brad?
Yeah. So from the highlights I watched, Ole Miss basically damn near had like the whole step of the way. It just felt like Ole Miss was controlling the game the whole way through. Obviously, the beginning, the first quarter, it felt like we went back and forth. John Mateer had some good passes here and then. Same thing with Chambliss. They were going back and forth, But then towards like I think the second quarter, towards like the last couple of minutes, damn there, Oklahoma basically their passing game just disappeared, and it just became more of a rushing offense, and that's basically is what happened after that. The whole half, after the second half, they were just running the ball the whole time. Obviously, John Mateer threw the ball here and there, but Ole Miss basically had to step all the way through. It just felt like Oklahoma was just playing catch up with Ole Miss, even though there was a time where Oklahoma literally ran the ball and they literally scored back to back time running the ball. Like I'm pretty sure one of it was like a big gain of I don't know how many yards, but it was just a long maybe from Robinson was along a 65. I don't remember, but they did had a rushing TD. Then the next one another rushing TD. Now they're up by 1 point. But then Ole Miss came back, they scored, and then it just like now Oklahoma back to chasing them again. But yeah, Ole Miss was just ahead and by far. Even though it seemed close at one point, it just felt like Oklahoma was just trying to catch up with Ole Miss the whole time, in my opinion at least. So yeah, that's all I gotta say. How about you, Cameron?
You speak of the rush game, Xavier Robinson. This dude was the third running back on the depth chart. Jay Knott is a transfer from I think Georgia Tech. I think he wishes he was back at Georgia Tech right now. He's not been effective at all. I thought he had more of an impact. And now Tory Blaylock was their number one for the past couple weeks. He's a freshman, so that's just how bad this run game has been for them. And that's just why John Mateer had to really care at the start of the year. And now he can't rely on no run game. Xavier Robinson is a guy that came out of nowhere for them last game, and it was kind of like, oh, he got 9 carries for 109 yards. We needed that, and they still didn't win. And like you said, the 65-yarder, I think that was a touchdown, and then he had another one. I don't know what Oklahoma does moving forward, because you're not gonna get that from Xavier Robinson probably the rest of the season, just because you just got a couple lucky yards there when you need them the most. Ole Miss don't have the best defense, we know that, but Oklahoma's about to go into the death trap. They already just lost one, and it's only going to be down from here. You just got to be glad you got your 6 wins early, so at least you're bowl eligible, because this team peaked so early in the season, and it sucks because the Mateer injury definitely was the reason for that. But for Ole Miss, you got games you could sit back on, but don't let South Carolina let you slip up. Don't let this Mississippi State at the end of the year get to you. Sitdown. You could throw in your backups for them. It's fine. But I'm just saying, stay on your P's and Q's, but Ole Miss should be a lock in the playoffs. They probably should have the highest percentage to make the playoffs at this point. And again, it's just, hey, bro, we're just gonna win our games, and if we get a chance to go to the SEC championship, it is what it is. But regardless, we're in the playoffs. It just matters how many wins or losses we're gonna have before going in there. But yeah, not much to say. I think the biggest surprise was Robinson in the backfield for Oklahoma, and then Winston Watkins. He came out of nowhere. He's a freshman, got 4 touches, and made the most of them, getting 111 yards. That was the biggest shocker, because that's something that Ole Miss needed. There really isn't a big pass catcher for them for Trinidad. That's why Trinidad has to make a lot of it on the ground. Him and Kewan Lacey have to just use their feet a lot of the time for this offense. But this offense just continues to roll, and they put up 34 points on this good-ass Oklahoma defense, and they really made them look like they're not that good, in my opinion. So shout out Ole Miss, taking down Oklahoma number 13. Does anybody know what the ranking is now? 18. Shit. And Oklahoma, the next couple of games to win over Ole Miss's games is number 14 Tennessee, number 4 Alabama, number 19 Missouri, and unranked LSU at the end of the year. So yeah, good luck to them. Good luck to them. All right, next game we got on is another SEC matchup. We got the Missouri Tigers, number 15 in the country, going to Nashville, going to Vanderbilt, and visit Diego Pavia, who's ranked number 10 at this point. And this was a slugfest. This was a defensive battle. This was an ugly game. If you're not a fan of either of these teams or don't like football for the most part, because I've seen a lot of people do and say that when there's low-scoring games. I find them entertaining, in my opinion. But I think the biggest thing you come out this game with is Bo Bubula. It looked like a nasty injury in the second quarter on the goal line. I think it was a 4th down play as well. And they was trying to punch it in, and Bo Bubula got stuck on a defender. Vanderbilt player like kind of locked his leg to make sure he didn't get over that goal line. Another one just pushed him over, and it looked worse than it was. I think they came out, it was like just a leg sprain or something like that, a very high grade sprain. So it's not broken, it's not torn ACL, nothing crazy like that. But he is set to miss the rest of the regular season. And Zalish came in and he looked pretty decent. I'm not gonna lie, bro. He's somebody that I could see if they get the first reps in practice. It's gonna be a lot, but is this season over with? I don't think so. But it just, what can Zalish do for you? Ahmad Hardy kind of had a comeback game, had 97 yards on the ground with 20 carries, needed that. But again, this is just a slugfest and nothing can get going for either team. But Diego Pavia was able to persevere, 10 for 19, 129 yards, interception. And yeah, he has some running backs to just hand that bitch off to, and it was 86 yards from McKylan Young, and then Cedric Alexander with 27 yards on 10 carries, which is crazy. But yeah, this is just a slugfest, off defensive battle. Not much to say for me in this, but Diego continues his Heisman campaign, in my opinion, able to get the job done and get another top 15 victory. This is not your grandma's Vanderbilt team. This is Diego Pavia's Vanderbilt team. VJ, how are we feeling about this?
Hey, I did say didn't watch majority, but this is one of the few games I actually did watch.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't know. I less like that Vandy hype train or something. I don't know. Nah. Definitely a very slugfest type of game. I would say this wasn't the cleanest either. Like there was definitely a decent amount of flags, especially impactful ones. I remember seeing I think it was before halftime, Pavia did like a crazy run for a touchdown, but I think it was called back because of the flag. I was like, damn. I was like, shoot, that it definitely wasn't the cleanest and all that. But Vanderbilt definitely got a good win at home, especially against Missouri. Definitely a slower game, low scoring, but they pulled it out at the end. They had a lot of, I guess, end momentum, you could say. I do want to say though is I do want to congratulate Vandy for this, but it's like the offense, in my opinion, just needs to be a little bit more cleaner and needs to step up because in these type of games, like what happens if Bo Prabula realistically isn't injured? Is the game closer? I don't know.
I mean, it's a one-score game. It's 7 points, and Bo Prabula didn't play the second half. Like, and they were on the goal line, so they got that stop, yes, but Bo Prabula was out, and it was a slugfest at the first half. I'm not gonna lie, but yo, that Missouri offense could have got going, and fucking ran up 34 or something.
Bro, like exactly. That's why it's like, dang, like this Vandy offense just kind of needs to, like, yes, take the win like happily, but you get back in that lab because realistically, this is not gonna be acceptable against any other teams like this. And then let's not even forget the fact, honestly, if you watch the game, Missouri damn near had the game tying touchdown. They were stopped at like the 6 inches away from the fucking touchdown on a Hail Mary attempt that basically was barely short.
Yeah.
Bro, that was insane. When I saw that, I was like, no way they just got that. But then I was like, yo, they said they reviewed it. He was short. I was like, okay, y'all got bailed out.
Yeah,
you guys got bailed out heavy. So, congratulations, Vandy, and all that. What was it?
Missouri 1-3 in the red zone, and with that Hail Mary pass as well. So there was multiple opportunities for them to tie this game up.
Bro, and they did that with basically a backup play in the second half. So, hey, Vandy, I do want to congratulate you for this, but definitely got to pick it up. Missouri, this definitely isn't the end of the world. I mean, you still show promise, but now you're kind of like you're backed up a little bit. Your SEC play, you basically could throw that out the window, in my opinion.
All right, here you go. The last 4 games. Next week, okay, they got a bye week this week. The week after the bye, A&M, Mississippi State, Oklahoma, Arkansas. Not the worst.
Yeah, I mean, it just sounds like 2-2. It'd be, if we're being realistic, could be 2-2, could be 3-1, depending on how it goes, but.
Zalish showed a lot of promise, man.
Yeah, it's really this bye week. It's a blessing that it's a bye week because now you got to build off. You got to learn real fast as the backup quarterback. So definitely a good run for Vandy, but we got to see how it goes on now because these type of games can't be acceptable for the future.
All right, Vandy's next 4. Here, let's see if you like this. Number 20 Texas this weekend. Next weekend, Auburn, and then you got Kentucky, and then Tennessee to end it off. At Tennessee, at Texas. Doable?
Yeah,
Not all.
I don't think Tennessee, in my opinion. I don't think Tennessee.
Yeah,
Texas, there could be something, you know. Texas looking low, you know.
We don't even know first place.
Yeah, but I say
So-
Arch is not in, so it's like supposedly they say that he might be still out. So
He said he got a concussion in the overtime, like the first play of overtime. He ran it, and then he kind of like went down wrong, and then it was concussion. So I think concussion is automatic. Like you're out next week. You have to sit out.
Yeah.
That's
For at least I think the NFL. I don't know how college.
That safety protocol.
They just throwing a fucking player out there at this rate, but I mean. It's doable. 3-1 is definitely there. Tennessee, they gotta show me promise in the next weeks for me to give them hope against Tennessee. I put it like that.
Yeah.
But now, how about you, Ray?
Yeah, honestly, you basically said everything I want to say, to be honest. But
What do you want to say?
Basically, how I was just gonna mention that, like, it was a closer game than it needed to be, and honestly, I was just gonna comment back on what I said last week. It's like Pavia, you know, he had that, you know, Heisman campaign, and we had to see he's not gonna be able to do that every single game. And I feel like this game kind of shows, like, hey, I feel like the college football god, they kind of bailed him out with that, you know, barely missing out on that. It's just like telling him, like, hey, you're not gonna be able to do this every week. So we're gonna give you a bail this time around. So next time you better come out ready to ball, because I'm not gonna lie, there was a play where Pavia, like, when he got his rushing TD. I'm pretty sure like a few plays before they were trying to, you know, score. They were at the goal line. They were trying to score with the running back. They did a read option. That boy Pavia like, man, give this shit. Hey, you go block for me. He ran that shit in himself, bro. So it was just funny seeing, like, yo, this man Pavia is really like doing everything himself. And yeah, that's all I say. So yeah, Vanderbilt, this week could have been their week where they lost, but you know it was just a couple inches away from, you know, the game possibly going in a different direction. So yeah, that's really all I gotta say.
Diego Pavia accounts for 1,700 passing yards, 450 rushing yards, and leads obviously his team in both categories. 5 touchdowns on the ground, 15 touchdowns in the air. And again, they were talking about a potential Vanderbilt team with maybe 2 losses. Maybe they take one to Tennessee. I think with their resume and being a top 10 team in LSU that was last week, and now if a ranked number 15 win against Missouri, I think if they're able to beat a ranked 20 Texas team, like, that's 3 ranked wins on their resume, and not including the all the way back number ranked 11th South Carolina win that they had early in the season. The only loss is going to be to Alabama, and probably a top 10 team at that time if they can keep rolling at Tennessee. So I think we could essentially see fucking Diego Pavia in his 8th year of college football, finally in the playoffs. Good for him. Great for him. Now we move on to the potential upset of the week that almost happened. The number 11 BYU Cougars, 8-0 on the season now after taking down the Iowa State Cyclones. Iowa State coming off a bye week, brought BYU into town and went up. I think it was 17. I think they went up like 17, and I was like, oh shit, is Bear gonna do this? Is the freshman gonna be able to come back? He came back and said, yo, Rocco, here's 17 to your fucking face. Come back to this. And he didn't come back, bro. He took that fucking L. Rocco just fucking laid down in his bed, bro. That's all it was. Very, very sad because Matt Campbell, you know, he got job opportunities I think potentially at other colleges, but this one was bad. I feel like they had it right there, bro, and they got beat by a freshman, and that just shows how legit this freshman is, and Bear Bachmeyer. But yeah, such a great game, and LJ Martin wasn't even effective on this, but you look at this Parker Kingston guy, this Chase Roberts guy that's catching 133 and 128 yards. Yo, the Bears distributing that ball, man. He got some favorite targets over there with 7 and 8 receptions. So shout out him, VJ. What we take from this game?
Listen, I mean, I'm gonna just keep saying the ones I watch and didn't watch. I didn't watch this one, unfortunately, but I had my eye on this one. I didn't.
Nah,
I'm telling you right, bro.
not the Asian brother.
Man, he didn't even pick him. He didn't pick him. I'm the only one that ride with my Asian brother. What happened? Yeah. Anyways, go ahead.
All right, then.
What happens when you give up, man?
I skip.
What the fuck?
Nah. Realistically, I was looking at the box score. I did see Iowa State up. I was like, damn, they might do it. I'm like, shit. All right, damn, that's actually kind of insane. And then second half, basically was gone. I was like, oh my gosh, is the collapse real? Granted, the worst part is this is not even the worst upset arguably what I seen at least the weekend. So the crazy the fact that Iowa State was up by a decent bit and then they kind of just folded. I'm like, damn. BYU continues to impress. They proven all the doubters, including myself. I'll give them their respect 100%. They doing the thing. Iowa State, it was a do or die type of game, and unfortunately they died on this one. So it's kind of hard to rebound, especially against honestly a Big 12 that's starting to basically form in the ways it's gonna form. Um, Not much I can say because I didn't watch the game, obviously. So that's all I can really go off, at least from seeing it in hindsight. Because BYU, I think they do have one more tough. I think they have a game against Cincinnati later, as far as I remember. I think
Texas Tech and Cincinnati.
yeah, Texas. Okay, so they definitely have like some tough, decently tough schedule still. But the way it's looking, it's almost like basically win one and you're in. Because they just put themselves in a good spot. Iowa State is basically is wrapped. They need miracles in the Big 12 for them to even make it. So
yeah, I think this is over for Iowa State.
Yeah.
Another thing to point out is the rushing for Iowa State. I talked about Abu Sama, the third. He was a great running back. He put up 63 yards on 9 carries. This Carson Hansen guy, I don't know where the fuck he came from. Number 26 on the field, 16 carries, 152 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Yo, Rocco, you had help this game. Like, I'm not gonna lie, bro. He threw for 300. It still wasn't enough. It's unfortunate. He was basically playing fucking catch up, but he only put up 3 points in the second half. Going into the second half, he was playing catch up, and yeah, that 17-point deficit for him. Like, he looked very like lost out there at times, and it just sucks for him. So, you have anything to add about your Asian brother?
Yeah, bro.
You believed in him?
Yeah, I did. But, you know, when I was watching the highlight, when they were up 17-0, if I was in real time watching this shit, I'm like, damn, bro. They really did my mans like that. But then, you know, obviously, you know, fast forward to the future now, and I already know what the score. I'm like, damn, how did they even get to that point? You know, it's like, okay, they scored 7. And I'm like, okay, it seemed like Buckeye is ramping up a little bit, but, you know, Iowa State's still in it. It ain't so far gone yet. But then, you know, it just Rocco just kept pounding up the interceptions and like the turnovers, and Bachmeier he just came out just playing his game and distributing the ball, and it was just going his way, and he just did his part. Honestly, I was just so amazed that like Bachmeier was doing what he was doing. Like you say, he's a freshman. Like he stayed composed the whole way through. He didn't seem unbothered at all throughout this whole game, which is honestly pretty impressive for, you know, a freshman. That honestly this BYU that been, you know, doubted by like, hey, you know, it seemed like, you know, obviously like how y'all two had picked Iowa State. People still didn't believe this BYU team was still that team. People still felt like they still need to be tested, and here you are. They kind of proved themselves. They were down early, but they still stayed in and they continued to fight. And it's not how you start, it's how you finish. So, yeah, this BYU, my Asian brother, I'm riding with you to the end, my man. So it's just like, you know, you still have 2 tough opponents still left in Cincinnati and Texas Tech, especially that Texas Tech game. So you have to see, but I'm gonna still ride this BYU train and see how far it goes.
I pick Iowa State. I think Matt Campbell was the better coach, but shout out to Lonnie. He looked like the better coach out there, in my opinion. But we talk about Iowa State. They were at Iowa State coming off a bye week, and Iowa State just took 2 losses to Cincinnati and Colorado the week before. BYU just made it a third, and now for the future for Iowa State, we're gonna get into it next pod. But they got an Arizona State team that now has this injured Sam Levitt, and I don't know if Jordan Tyson's gonna be back for that. So banged up for Iowa State can still rally together, try to get 9 wins, trying to scrape up whatever they can for the rest of the season. But as far as BYU goes, they go into a bye week now, still undefeated, and basically get to watch everybody else this Saturday. But they need to be prepared because now Brendan Sorsby's back for Texas Tech. Will Hammond went down with a torn ACL. He's going to be out for the rest of the season. And Will Hammond should be able to take over that Texas Tech team next year. But that's next year. Brendan Sorsby, is that? Bro, I keep getting Sorsby and fucking I think Sorsby plays Cincinnati. Anyway, whatever. But basically, Texas Tech got their quarterback Baron Morton, Brendan Sorsby, same shit, bro. But Baron Morton's back. He was injured the last 2 weeks. Will Hammond was able to, in the third stringer, were able to get their win. But this Texas Tech defense is something to be very scared of for your BYU. I'm not trying to give the preview now, but I'm just saying BYU is still, I wouldn't say untested, but they have breathing room now. They can go into these last 4 games with like, hey, we can take a loss and still most likely be in that Big 12 conference championship. But shout out the freshman getting it done with his legs, man. He has crazy plays, bro. I'm like, yo, this dude's hurdling people and shit. I'm like, this dude is crazy, bro. To do it while being Asian is the best part. Am I right?
Yup.
All right. Get to the biggest matchup of the week in one of our news segments. We can do it right here because Texas A&M goes into Death Valley at night, one of the hardest places to play in college football. But I was hearing, hey, if you can control and take control of this game and make it a 3-possession game, bro, Death Valley gonna clear out. All the fans going home. By the third quarter, I didn't see nobody but the student section there, bro. I'm looking at one end zone. I'm like, yo, I didn't even know what color the fucking seats were. Now I know. It's fucking gray. Holy shit. Yo, this Texas A&M defense fucking came alive, bro. Cassius Howell, second sack leader in the country. The only one doing that is David Bailey out in Texas Tech. Yo, I don't know what the guy in Texas, but fucking, bro, 7 sacks? Yo, Garrett Nussmeier was having fucking nightmares fucking Saturday night when he went to sleep, bro. He thought Cassius Howell found him in his house, like in his dorm. I don't know, bro. But again, shout out Cassius Howell. I think he had like 2 sacks, bro. They was fucking throwing oops with fucking that fucking helmet of Nussmeier's, bro. They was doing him dirty. I was like, yo, why are they letting this man get hit that much? But yeah, as far as the Penn State of SEC, I mean LSU, they ranked number 20th, got basically fucking that belt distributed to them by fucking top 3 Heisman candidate in my opinion, Marcel Reed. Again, Marcel Reed had a couple interesting interceptions. I think LSU was able to take advantage of that early and make it somewhat close. And those were the things I was scared of. And I'm glad Marcel Reed was able to come back and put up 21 points in the third quarter, 14 points in the fourth quarter to make this not close. But those are the interceptions I'd be worried about with him. But again, bro, Marcel Reed knows how to get the ball out. As far as Garrett Nussmeier goes, like, he didn't have no time in the pocket, bro. I don't know what you want him to do out there, bro. He had 6 carries for negative 44 yards. That's how many sacks he took, bro. He had fucking almost negative 50 yards, bro. I don't know why we count sacks as rushing yards for quarterbacks in college. We need to figure that shit out. But yeah, I don't know what else to say, bro. Texas A&M goes to 8-0 now, looking unstoppable. They put up another 49 points on an away game. All 3 times they've been in away this year, and I've been talking about their away schedule for the rest of the year, which they don't got a tough schedule at all for the rest of the year. In my opinion, they can afford to drop 1 now. But Texas A&M on the road every time they put up 40 plus. If they go into your building and put up points, if you're not putting up more points than them, you're gonna have a hard time. And LSU found out the hard way. They thought they were gritty enough to stop them. 49 points you got dropped on your head, and you put up 25. That's not gonna be able to get it done. BJ, how we feeling?
Ooh, man. This one's an interesting one, just given the fact that I remember last week I was saying I think that's gonna be a close one. Hey, A&M did they shit, man. I can't even be mad or like be like shocked about it. They did their part. They had the defense. I remember seeing some highlights. They were brutalizing LSU as far as I seen. And then offensively, like you just said, I really didn't see none until the second half. Marcel Reed basically had it. Activated takeover, bro. He just put his head down. Bro, he did something. Put his head down, and I just saw highlight reel. I'm like, yo, Marcel Reed, man. I don't know. My guy's a second half warrior or something because my guy's just thugging it out. Like, bro, like it just seems like in the second half when they're in somehow, I guess you say tight or a little bit contested games, they just seem to know how to take over in that second half. So I give them all respect for A&M. And it looks the future's bright for them the rest of the season. I mean, you just said it yourself. Like it looks good. Like they have really nothing to really be, I guess, scared of in that regard. Hopefully they don't, get complacent and drop a game early, or the random game. But it looks good for LSU. I mean, we talk about it obviously at the end what will happen, in the future of LSU. So I'll just say it like that. How about you, Ray?
I mean, as bad as this score is, 49-25, you gotta, bro. LSU, their defense was legit. Their first half, I'm not gonna lie, they was keeping it close. But second half, where fucking Nussmeier getting fucking sacked all the damn time, their defense can't keep up anymore. So I can't really blame the defense on this one. It was mainly the offense. Shit, maybe the fucking offensive line, bro. There was a time where I seen Nussmeier get sacked. He was just laying there, bro. It took him at least a minute to just take it all in. Like I'm pretty sure he did not even want to get up. Bro,
he was asking, "Is it worth
bro,
it? So
like,
I go to the NFL now,
yeah,
bro."
He was dead, bro. He was so contemplating life for a whole minute. He was like, "Bro, do I even get up? I'm down by however many points, bro. I'm not about to get out of this game anytime soon, bro." So it's like, I can't even blame Nussmeier for this time around, because their defense was keeping them in the game in the first half. You know, with Marcel Reed having them 2 interceptions. Like I'm saying, I feel like this game could have been different if the LSU offense could have, converted off that 2 interception, or I honestly could have seen the game a little bit more closer, but like honestly, like y'all VJ said, Marcel Reed fucking turn on his takeover out on his defense, gave him that extra boost and turned that bitch on. He was lining him up, and then Nussmeier on the other hand, that boy was ice cold. He was just, yeah, bro, nothing was flowing on his end. So shout out to A&M. They're good. They're chilling. You guys should see who they're gonna face. LSU. Sucks to be y'all, man. Y'all had a good season. Now y'all just, I don't know. Try to look good to end off your season, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, that's all I got. How about you, Cameron? Final thoughts?
Marcel Reed for Heisman. That, like, bro, the back-to-back, was it back-to-back? I don't know what the fuck the interceptions were, but they were 2 bad interceptions where I'm like, well, this is who Marcel Reed is. And they made him pay. I think one was in the red zone too.
Yeah.
But Marcel Reed with his legs was like the most like dominating factor about this game. He had 100 yards, bro. That's fucking insane to have on the ground as a quarterback. And then you look at the opponent that had negative 50 yards. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. But the giraffe in the room, the elephant in the room, the fucking big ass animal in the room is fucking basically LSU's about to clean house. All the coaching staff is basically got sent home Sunday. Like, hey, go home early, bro. We got a decision to make. And the AD basically came out and said, yeah, that guy, Brian Kelly and Joe Sloan out at LSU. Brian Kelly basically came out here as the winningest head coach in Notre Dame football history. Was a pretty good coach over there. Came to LSU, had a fake accent, and then fucking decided he was gonna fucking try to just cash in all this money. That's what it felt like. It just looked like a cash grab. I'm gonna swing up all this money, and then I'm gonna go play golf after I get cut. One of the biggest quotes of the weekend is, "Yo, I could go get hired and I can get fired from a job, bro, and get 50 million as a buyout." And that's what it feels like for a lot of these coaches, bro. Like, I don't know what NIL and all these donators are doing, bro, but like the fact that we got 50 million buyouts left, right, center. Like, I don't know what's going on, but LSU is definitely the biggest head coaching job to come out now. I don't think that's crazy to say. LSU has a rich history. In the last, I think, 3 head coaches that got hired before Brian Kelly was able to bring a national championship to Baton Rouge, and Brian Kelly has now failed. But I think Joe Sloan is the biggest, like, yo, you should have got him out of there before you fired fucking Kelly, because I think the offense was the biggest. Like, how is the offense not going, bro? We got Nussmeier coming back for his senior year. We got some decent fucking wide receivers, one of the best wide receivers room in my opinion in the country. Trey Green looking like a fucking NFL prospect. We got some transfers coming in. I don't know what this offense did to not click, but Joe Sloan was the problem in my opinion, bro. This dude wasn't a good offense coordinator, and it was very apparent this year. And I thought they were gonna talk to Kelly and be like, hey, you want to like switch some things up. I don't know what you need to do, but this can't keep going forward. But nah, they just sweep them up. And I think a lot of it was just the game wasn't close. When you cleared out Death Valley in at halftime, bro, that's kind of apparent. Like, oh, this isn't working. Like in the middle of the third, it was like, yo, I'm seeing seats. I'm like, damn, A&M scored again. Oh no, I don't see nobody fucking watching the game no more. That was crazy. How y'all feel about it?
You go ahead, VJ.
I was talking to Rack about this. I think this is, I was comparing it really to the Penn State situation, and I was really being honest about it. I was like, listen, it's a very tough decision, especially given that Penn State in regard is like Penn State can kind of experiment a little. They have a lot of potential to do. With LSU, bro, you got to get that guy. You can't go for no bullshit with LSU. You got to get a guy that's him. So that's why it's like, in my opinion, the LSU job, even though it's more lucrative, it's more harder to kind of meet that expectation, just because you're in SEC first of all, and then also, I mean, you just said it, rich history and all that. Like you kind of need a coach that is proven that can do it. At least in the regard of what they've done recently, or like maybe like either recently or long term, like they've been having very solid success. In my opinion, it's just this is tough. I feel like with Penn State, the situation is almost completely different. So that's how I view it. That's what I was talking to Rack about. So Rack could give his thoughts about
Yeah,
it.
honestly, yeah, kind of like the same opinion. Like LSU, I don't know who can even take this position in the SEC. You know, with this rich history, it's like now the SEC ramping up. The Georgia looking questionable. The board getting his step in. You know, looking questionable early on. Florida now not having their head coach. It's like who is capable of picking this LSU team from where they are right now and putting them back in that spotlight where they deserve. You know, who can make Death Valley, you know, feel like Death Valley for a reason. You know, Death Valley is supposed to be one of the most like toxic environment for any team coming in here. Nobody want to go into Death Valley, so it's like for A&M to come in here and basically clear house by the third quarter. That's not what Death Valley is. So who? The question is who and where are they gonna find this person?
So what it's gonna be is somebody that already has a job and wherever they're at right now, they're gonna have to like double, triple that paycheck, or it's gonna be a bidding war for that. The names is gonna be Lane Kiffin, Marcus Freeman, another Notre Dame head coach, and then Dan Lanning. Those are three names I could see that are they're home runners. Like these are guys that hit home runs everywhere they go. It's gonna be the best of the best at LSU. I don't know if they're gonna take a swing on James Franklin or Eli Drinkwitz or even a Clark Leah and Vanderbilt. Like they don't got no margin for error. I'm seeing John Gruden. I'm like, yo, they just saying that because they just want to see that guy coach again. But that's just not realistic in my opinion. I would assume Nick Saban gets a call. He probably declining that shit.
But he already made his statement. He said, I do not want to come back, bro. Yeah, shut that shit down immediately.
Yeah, so hopefully his wife doesn't have his phone when someone else calls like that. But yeah, it's home runner. Like you gotta I don't want to see nobody with no fake accents though. Like that's so fucking crazy, bro. I'm hearing Brian Kelly was on the beach and just chilling during vital parts of the season for LSU in multiple years, bro. He was not taking his job serious. For a lot of people, and the fact that at that Texas A&M game, I was seeing his men yelling at his fucking coaching staff like they were fucking employees at a 7-Eleven was insane to me. Like, buddy, you are not working a 9 to 5. I don't know why you're yelling at these grown men with families like they're fucking like they're so bad, bro. It starts with you, buddy. I don't know what else, but you got time to fucking go work a 7-Eleven job because you get paid $50 million. So if you want to keep fucking active, go play golf and 7-Eleven on the weekends, bro. I don't know. But anyways. Yeah. I think. Hey, I'm gonna get the name right now. But I'm pretty sure the AD or whoever hired Brian Kelly for this job was also the same one that hired Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M a couple years ago. If you know that, Jimbo Fisher had the biggest buyout up until this season. And yeah, so I don't know who this guy is, but he's like a double agent, bro. He's getting head coaches paid and fired, and then he's fucking dapping up right after. Oh, you just got your fired? Yes, sir. That's how the deal's secured. Like it's just crazy, bro.
I did not know that. That's crazy, bro. That is crazy.
Guy who hired
Got a double agent in the bitch. That's crazy.
That is.
No, I've seen Stephen A. Smith go off. Scott Woodward, I'm pretty sure. Yep, the person who hired Brian Kelly at LSU and Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M is LSU's current athletic director, Scott Woodward. Scott Woodward made the move to hire Brian Kelly away from Notre Dame for LSU, and before that, when he was athletic director at Texas A&M, he hired Jimbo Fisher. So shout out to this guy, man.
Damn. Getting coaches paid by being ass. Nice.
This guy. Anyways, Death Valley, man.
Good luck, LSU. Good luck.
They got. The thing is, whenever you fire a head coach like this, you should have like a plan of who you want next, or like you should be in talks. You should have like a short list of like, don't be doing no shit blindly.
I I feel like
Anyways,
once you see like a little decline, like ooh, that's a little questionable. You should already think about like, hey, well, if this was to go completely south, who do you think? Type thing, and then just store it up in a file somewhere, and then come back to another date. Whenever it really hit rock bottom. But but then if it never happens, then you just tore that file back up. Honestly, you could just still keep that file there. To be honest, you could never not have a plan B. Yeah. On to the next thing.
all right, we got an SEC matchup, another one. We didn't have it on like our little talk about before. I kept it on the 1-eye-1 because I've seen potential that it could be close. I didn't think it was gonna be this close though, or close at all in my opinion. But when Ty Simpson struggles, the Alabama Tide struggle. Number 4 in the country go into South Carolina to face the Gamecocks. Oh, I mean the South Carolina Lenore Sellers, because that's basically who this fucking team is at this point. They can't do shit but fucking have Lenore Sellers run around the pocket and get a couple first downs, and that's the fucking game plan for fucking South Carolina playing like LSU because they're so fucking ass every week. Anyways, but Ty Simpson, he didn't have the best game. He kind of need to like he didn't have no run game, and this run game for Alabama, I feel like I struggled most of the year. Jam Miller came in and then got injured, and then he really hasn't found his footing back into the rushing game. But Jam Miller, 10 carries for 26 yards, just not enough, bro. I'm not gonna lie, bro. Just not as effective as he once was. But as far as the receivers go, it was like Jeremy Bernard's not getting the looks that he usually gets. I feel like there was also missing Isaiah Horton. I don't know where he was. Because he didn't log a catch at all. I'm pretty sure he was out there. But Daniel Hill, I think he's a sophomore. He's basically his first start. I think Isaiah Horton was injured or something like that. But he had some good games early in the season. But he basically came alive, gave him 76 yards off 4 receptions. And Ryan Williams, he had a couple drops in the game. People still consider it a drop problem. I don't really consider it that. But Ryan Williams, effective, 7 receptions for 72 yards. But yeah. I feel like Alabama struggled for the most part. It really was an offensive, it was a defensive battle. The offense struggles, and just South Carolina struggled more, I guess. I don't know bro, what irritates me the most is I look at this score sheet and I see Nick Harper with 1 fucking reception, bro, for a touchdown. How do you have 1 fucking reception, 54 yards, and 1 touchdown, and you don't get the ball no more? Like, that is what infuriates me every single week, bro. Like, I don't know how you have a fucking potential NFL wide receiver out there and you just throw to him 1 singular time and he's able to get a touchdown with it, and you don't look at him no other way. Like, I don't care what it is, bro. When you have a offensive struggles like South Carolina does, where you got Lenore Sellers carrying the shit 18 times, is he the running back and the quarterback? That's what he has to do every single week. Bro, he has a NFL potential wide receiver there, bro. And Nick Harper, use him, please. I'm gonna digress. I'm gonna calm down. Blood pressure getting a little too high. VJ, take it away.
Hey. When I was talking about the other game that got choked up, this was it. This was the worst choke job I've seen from South Carolina. There was a moment I looked at it, I was like, yo, they might do it. Because Alabama was not, you just said it, Alabama was not on their game. I was like, yo, South Carolina, this is it.
The ball.
This is what you need. This is what you needed right here. I was like, yo, you're running. The ball's in the air for the alley-oop dunk. All you need to do is just catch it. And they fucking fumbled mid-air. How? Bro, this game annoyed me so much for South Carolina just because they choked it so bad, bro. I don't know what happened. Defensively, I don't know. They look decent. But it's like, if you're being honest, I think like 1 or 2 Alabama's like main scores were because of turnovers. It was like, bro, like what is going on here? South Carolina, man, this game really annoyed me for them just because they really choked it bad for them. This is you got an Alabama on perfect timing. They were not there. I don't know what happened. Maybe they weren't in the game majority of it. But then literally, I honestly say the fourth quarter, the second that fourth quarter hit, Alabama just took over. They just said, yo, you know what? I think we should actually start trying because South Carolina isn't, and we tried to give one up. Might as well take it now. So then they end up taking it. Congratulations, Alabama. Honestly, for the Brazilians, because they did not look good for a majority of the game-ish. But then
The Brazilians?
I mean, they came alive when they needed to come alive. That's the way I'll put it. They came alive when they needed to come alive, which is like late, very, very late. So it is what it is. But I'm just more annoyed on South Carolina in that regard.
Who's the Brazilians?
Civilians.
Oh.
Resilient.
Oh, resilient.
Oh,
Oh, he said
I thought he
resilient.
said Brazilians. I'm like, yo, is that a duo that I'm not like aware
No,
of?
no,
Oh, I heard
resilience.
civilian.
No, no, nah. But yeah, Alabama just showed good resilience, and they pulled through when they need to pull through at the end. So good, kudos to them. They a big off game, but they made it work. South Carolina, I don't, buddy. I at this point I don't even want to talk about them no more, just because they choked it bad, bro. They had it and they just dropped it bad. So you can take it away, right?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, bro. For can't get mad about Nick Harbor only getting one catch and it's being a TD. I'm not gonna lie, that one time that ball even went his way was because of Lenore's finally had time to fucking throw the ball, bro. I'm not gonna lie, Lenore's does his read 1, 2, 3 runs, bro. That's all it was. He just did not want, bro. He did not want to sit in that pocket, bro. And it makes sense why, because he don't have time to throw that shit and he's sick of getting sacked, so he just, he's like, I'm gonna do this shit myself. So yeah, Nick Harbor, yeah, I don't know how they game plan. I don't know, fucking screen pass, with Nick Harbor or stuff. I don't know, jet sweep. I don't know how far that would get you, but still, it's just like, we understand that they don't got the old line protection, when it comes to the pass protection, but yeah, you have Nick Harbor like Cam said, and I don't know how you not use him. That's like, a little glaze. It's like having Jeremiah Smith but not use him. What the fuck are we doing? So what are we doing? You got to like prioritize your weapons. But yeah, man, Alabama looked uncomfortable with this game. South Carolina was making it very close, and they had it. They basically had it in the palm of their hand. They just need to close it out, and they could not. And that's just all Alabama needs, especially just the board Alabama still trying to find their footing, but he really hasn't found their identity. They still are. They're still putting the pieces together. They find a good run, and then they still like, oh shit, well there's a mistake. We need to fix that up. So yeah, South Carolina had it. Unfortunately, they did not.
So basically, fucking fourth quarter hits. South Carolina has a 3-and-out. Shocker. Alabama muffed the punt. South Carolina was able to score, and they go up 22-14. So it's like, oh, you're not down 7 points, you're down 8 points. You need a touchdown and a conversion. Well, Alabama's able to put together a 14-play drive for 79 yards with 7:44 in time wasted on this, and they were able to tie it up. And then 2 plays later, Lenore Sellers tries to run it on a 2nd and 4, and basically just runs into a pile of just fucking Alabama defenders and a mix of South Carolina defenders, and the ball pops out. And this was a fumble on like their own like 30 or something like that, something along them lines. So basically, with I think it was around like 2 or 3 minutes left, basically South Carolina had the potential to get a game-winning field goal. And that's like context to how South Carolina fumbles it. They basically Lenore fumbles it, and then, of course it's the best player that fumbles it. The one that fucking has to do everything on this team. He's gonna get a lot. I guess some of the blame, but I don't know how much. Because he fumbled it, and then Alabama just basically was able to just punch it in and just score because it's Alabama and shit. But yeah, this is a trap game through and through. I feel like it was kind of possible. Just because a superstar quarterback like Lenore Sellers, with the potential of Nick Harbor on the field, even though he gets one catch, it's at least a fucking touchdown. And the fact that he can't be used downfield because he doesn't have enough time to develop his route is the problem with South Carolina. He doesn't have enough time to get open or get a one-on-one coverage downfield because he can't get downfield because Lenore has to run her outside the pocket and fucking, doesn't have time. But this was a trap game through and through. It was 4 fucking top 20 teams that Alabama was able to defeat. And you go into South Carolina, bruh. It's October, bruh. It is what it is. You're just glad you're able to win, and Alabama was able to win. So you didn't have to waste no overtime, no bodies on the court, because it's a banged up Alabama team. You got Jam Miller, fucking Ryan Williams was finally healthy last game, and fucking Isaiah Horton wasn't in the game, so I think he had some injuries going on. So it just is what it is. A banged up Alabama team. Ty Simpson not on his top of the top game, and this is what the results you're gonna get. This is how good Ty Simpson has been for Alabama this year. He kind of he can't settle, bro. He has to just play every single game like it's his fucking last, and that trophy that he's gonna have to go into New York with, sit down, and potentially win. He's gonna have to play like he wants it. But shout out Ty Simpson, getting it done, able to survive South Carolina, and now Alabama for the rest of the year. sitting at 7-1 and have won 7 straight. They got LSU, and they're going to the bye week. LSU, Oklahoma, Eastern Illinois. Like, why are we playing Eastern Illinois in November, bro? Like, come on, SEC, figure it out. And then Auburn at the final part of their game, man. If Hugh Freeze wants to save his job, go ahead and win against Alabama, and you can probably keep it for another year. All right. Talk about this upset. The Illinois Fighting Illini, Luke Altmaier goes to Washington, one of the toughest places to play. Before Ohio State beat them last month, they were had the longest home winning streak. And Ohio State was able to snap that. Illinois tries their luck over there, and DeMont Williams, Jonah Coleman, and Denzel Boston. Those are the big three for Washington, and they were all able to get it done in their respective categories. Put up 42 points on Illinois' head, and they did pretty good. Illinois made it close at first, but in the second half, it was kind of like out of reach for Illinois. But yeah, I feel like a lot of it was a lot of high scoring affair in the fourth quarter. Maybe I'm tripping. A lot of like what's it called? Just scrap time, like shit like that. VJ, how we feeling?
This one's an interesting one because obviously we weren't really focused on this one heavy, but it is an underrated Big Ten matchup, so I had to keep my eye on it because obviously Ohio State is in the Big Ten. Wanted to keep my eye on to see how this translates through and all that. But honestly, I mean, Washington pulled one off at home against technically a ranked opponent. I mean, they done their part, got one against Illinois. I mean, that I guess is a good win. I mean, it keeps Washington, I guess, in the books from being like a solid, like above mid-tier, Big Ten team probably, just because there was a lot of hype given like, oh, this offense is it, and they've kind of had a little bit of like weird struggles and all that, but hey, Washington done their part, man. They got that one win they needed against a ranked opponent. Honestly, it's a decent opponent too in Illinois. This is probably one of a generation kind of opponent for Illinois. So, congratulations, Washington. I think for Illinois, it's kind of like I guess now they're starting to fall out in that regard. I mean, it hasn't looked the same ever since we beat them. So, nothing else to say apart from that. Nothing else to say apart from that, man. So. That's all I could really say. I didn't have my eye on this too much, but when I saw Washington did beat it, I was like, okay, Washington, there you go. This is the win y'all needed right here. This is a really good one that y'all needed. What about you, right?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
Good.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't watch this game. It wasn't obvious. It wasn't on a watch, but it was upset. Why isn't Washington ranked? This is
lost last week.
Okay, they were lost last week. What did they lose to?
Yeah, Michigan. Michigan at the time.
I mean, but still, this Washington, when Ohio State played them, should have been ranked. Still not ranked. Then they would play Illinois. I forgot, what rank they was, but they're like, oh, this is a real test for Ohio State now. Beat Illinois, and then so it kind of shows Washington how good they are, even though they lost to Michigan, even though they was unranked, but still, it still proved. I mean, if anything, it shows how trash maybe Illinois is. I don't know, kind of a little bit of both worlds. How trash Illinois is, and then how good Washington is. You could pick either or, whichever argument you want. But yeah, this game I wasn't really paying attention to. I'm kind of almost not surprised that Washington won, to be honest. But then again, you never know. It's college football, and it could have went either way. So yeah, Cameron, you can go ahead.
Yeah. When I seen Washington lose last week to that team up north, I was very depressed. I love to see that maize and blue lose every week, but it couldn't happen. And Washington basically it was a locker stuffer. Like, yo, this is a little bro. You go into that locker and you can't do nothing about it. And Denzel Boston and DeMont Williams basically just walked into that locker room or walked into that locker and closed the door on themselves because they didn't want no bullies like Michigan doing that to them. And yeah, going into this week, it was kind of like, okay, you got to hold home field advantage down. So if you want to do that, Washington, show me what you really could do. And they showed me with putting up 42 points on this Illinois team that basically is the season ender. You got a lot of seniors and juniors talk about this team a lot. We don't need to talk about them no more. They just got their third loss. No playoffs for them. Bowl game potentially. Well, I mean, they should be able to win one of these games. They face Wisconsin on their schedule, so that's pretty much an automatic win at this point. So they should be bowl bound. Go win your bowl game, and you know, that's your season. Illinois, wrap this shit up. Washington still got potential for them. They got that last game against Oregon, and that's basically it. If they're able to beat Oregon, it's somewhat of a competition, and you got to win out, obviously. This is a win out or die situation for Washington, and Washington was able to keep their season alive for 1 week longer. And yeah, Damon Williams, again, Jonah Coleman, one of the best running backs in the probably in the Big Ten, but also in all of college football, man. He puts up like so many good stats. I think he's top 5 in rushing yards in FBS in general. So that just shows how good he is. So shout out to him. He doesn't get a lot of respect, in my opinion. We're not a big name out there, but he continues to let this offense open the field because of his run ability. Denzel Boston, 153 yards, 1 touchdown, 10 receptions. Need I say more? So shout out to him. That Damon Williams, no interceptions this week. Had a little mishap against that Michigan team with like I think 3 or something like that. They had his jersey, but none this week. 4 touchdowns, and that's it. You even got Denzel Boston on a passing touchdown. Yeah, they did not respect Illinois, in my opinion. The way they did it, at least. But yeah, Allmeyer, 2 interceptions, 2 touchdowns. Yeah, he came back. You probably should just, I don't know. We'll see you in like a box on your computer, doing a fucking 9 to 5 or some shit. I don't see you in the NFL. No hate, bruh. Yes.
So obviously the Big Ten, they have like a whole new alignment, right? It's for the Big Ten championship. It's number 1 versus number 2 now, right? It's no longer East versus West. Okay, I need to just need to remember that shit. So looking like Ohio State versus Indiana, right? That one's looking like.
Yes.
Or
I'll talk about it later. I'll talk about it later.
Oh,
Talk about it later.
Yeah, I don't know how like the 1 loss versus 1 loss. How do they like determine who goes if like there's 3 teams with 1 loss?
I think it's strength of schedule too, no?
Yeah, it is. It's strict schedule, especially on what is it? Your away games. They really value the strength of schedule on your away game. So the way you beat your opponents on away game in the Big Ten really matters more. So that I'll get in that later. We get in that later. Let's.
Yeah, we just. I'm gonna just do this for myself.
I got you when I see you later, bro. I got you. I'll give you a good breakdown.
I'll take some on the pod.
Nah. It'll be way too long. I'll be honest with you. It'll be way too long.
All right. So Washington continues to be like some type of contender. Basically, at the Big Ten right now, you got the big 3 in Ohio State, Indiana, and Oregon. And then it's basically like a big drop off now. You got Michigan, the Washingtons of the world, and Iowa, sneaky, but they're still there. USC, and yeah, that's pretty much what the potential of like playoff teams for the Big Ten is. It's like we got basically 3 locked in my opinion, and now it's like can we get a 4th type thing. And Washington could be one of them teams depending on how they treat that last game on their schedule and if they win out. Now, it's time for the 2-minute drill. Hang on.
Yes, sir.
Hello, everybody. Over here. All right. We got 2-minute drill. I go over a lot of these games for potential playoff berth teams, potential conference championship looks, and also for this game, the no Texas go to the playoffs, but it's a true mess to maker. We're talking about a quarterback that didn't even start on varsity in high school. He was a 0-star recruit, a walk-on at North Texas, and their head coach that they gave an extension to was the same one that brought Mahomes to Texas Tech. Yes, that's the same one that's been around, lingering in Texas Tech, has now got a head coaching job at North Texas, and has found his 0-star recruit, and Drew Messmaker, the true freshman with 600 yards. We're talking about a game that was tied at half. Look at this. It was tied at half, and North Texas was able to put up 27 in the 4th quarter. But, bro, I was watching the highlights, and I'm like, where did the 600 yards come from? If you just look at these play-by-plays, we'll go through the play-by-plays. They took 3 plays to get a touchdown there. 6 plays. A 60-yard pass. A 17-yard run. And then we just continue to go 20-yard pass, 40-yard pass. Like, he's just racking up these passes just randomly, bro. And this interception. He had an interception and then a fumble right out the gate, bro. He had back-to-back bad plays and turnovers, and then it was just touchdown, punt, field goal, touchdown, 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 and put up 54 on the Charlotte 49ers head, bro. Charlotte 49ers are 1-7, I know, but North Texas now, we're going to talk about a matchup they got coming up this week against Navy. Navy should be ranked at this point. They're undefeated, and I watched their Florida-Atlanta game, but they're undefeated, and they somehow don't got a rank, bro. It's crazy, bro. Look at these guys, bro. Yo, they little suits and shit, bro. Yo, shout out the men that go to war for us and all that bullshit. But it's not bullshit. They put their lives on the line for us. I respect it. But yeah, look at this: 190, 117, 114 for 3 pass catches, bro. Like, this dude was distributing the ball 600 yards, and you know who else has the record for the most passing yards in a game? Patrick Mahomes. Everything comes full circle around here. He put up 749 when he was there, and the same coach that scouted him was the same one that had this guy throw for 600 yards. Gotta watch out for. And yeah, it's a feel-good story from Texas this year. But another Friday night lights game. We got the Golden Bears going to Virginia Tech. Kyron Jones. This was I don't know how Cal let them back in the game. At halftime, it was 20-10, and then Kyron Jones in the second half basically just started fucking doing his own thing. He had 137 on the ground. Marcellus Hawkins had 167 on the ground. He's not really a thrower, but he can fucking throw if he needs to. But yeah, he had 4 pass catchers for him. He was able to lead this team against the JKS, the Sagapatelli, the freshmen. They took their 3rd loss, and this is a team I shouted out because they potentially make the playoffs. They are now eliminated, not making the playoffs at all. But Jacob De Jesus been doing his thing, had a breakout game, in my opinion, last week. To be the number 1 pass catcher, had 86 yards in this game, but wasn't able to get it done. Shout out Raph, he had 71 yards on 20 carries, 3 touchdowns, mostly punch-ins. But yeah, now Virginia Tech wins their first good game of the season. Shout out them. Kyron Jones looked like a decent quarterback out there. But yeah, Cal is now eliminated out of ACC play, and Virginia Tech got a comeback for this win. So shout out them. Indiana, yeah, this was supposed to be a good game, fellas. It was a 3-0 UCLA team, and that belt was laid off rip. Nico Iamaleava, yeah, first drive ended in an interception, sack, and then threw an interception for a pick 6, and it was 7-0 real quick. And then as you see these numbers just go up, go up, go up, go up. Oh, they scored 3 points. Up, go up, go up, go up, go up, go up. And yeah, it wasn't pretty at all. Nico Iamaleava only threw 2 interceptions, and I say only because it could have been much more. This offense for UCLA could not get going, and of course I'm not gonna call out the offensive coordinator, that the play caller, because everybody likes him. They want him to be the head coach. They blame the head coach for this one. But Fernando Mendoza, got to see Alberto out there. He was happy as hell when his little brother bro. They look the exact same, bro. They gotta be twins, bro. He's somehow younger, bro. He looked exactly like him, bro. I'm like, the number did change, right, on their jersey. It did. But yeah, shout out to EJ Williams getting it done, bro. He's a guy that not really talked about. He's his 3rd wide receiver on this team. He was able to put 109. It's the Elijah Surratt. It's the Omar Cooper. He was kind of interested. They didn't really need to use him there. And yeah, shout out Indiana. 8-0 on the season. Should be undefeated going into Indianapolis to face a potential undefeated team in Ohio State. No jinx in there. But yeah, not close. And shout out Indiana for closing it early, and Signetti threw in and threw out, bro. Looking like a Nick Saban for the Big Ten. Just mad at his team when they're up only 50.
Yeah.
Syracuse at Georgia Tech. Haynes King continues to be Haynes King. 300 over the passing game and 91 on the ground. He is just him. Ricky Collins probably had his best game to date, and they only put up 16 points. It's unfortunate. That defense could not get a stop. I'm not gonna lie, bro. It sucks for them because, yeah, they kind of did their thing. I'm not gonna lie, bro. Georgia Tech offense is just undefeated. And yeah, they're undefeated. The team as a whole is undefeated. They're ranked 7th in the country. Should be playing for the ACC championship against whoever wants it more, because Miami's still there. Who else? Who else we got? We got Louisville still with 1 loss. Pittsburgh with 1 loss. You got a lot of 1-loss teams here. Virginia's still ranked. But yeah, this Georgia Tech team could be legit and potentially get a playoff berth. And ACC could have maybe 2 teams in the playoffs if they really stuck to theirs. And this is the other ACC playoff team that could potentially happen. They got a very, very close scare with UNC. Virginia goes to UNC, and UNC falls in overtime, 17-16. Billy threw out fucking Gio Lopez out there. I promise you, if you give me the playbook and give me 24 hours, I could probably be a better quarterback than Gio Lopez at this point, bro. Yo, watching this guy fucking play is fucking irritating. His last completion was a fucking time. That's fucking crazy, bro. 8 Eastern. What the fuck was that? Anyways, fucking Chandler Moore is not that much better at quarterback. I'm not gonna lie, bro. He just happened to have a little bit of a better team and better coaching, in my opinion, bro. He had a rough game as well, in my opinion. And that's why it was so close. And no scores in the second half is fucking crazy. And then fucking Virginia finally scores in overtime, and then North Carolina scores in overtime as well. And Billy's like, I want to go home to my 17-year-old girlfriend, so I don't want to stay here that much longer. So we're going to go for 2. And then when he went for 2, he was short for he was literally short like an inch, bro. I swear to God, bro. Like, it was like a botched play. There was nothing open there to throw to the flat route. The flat route has 2 defenders on him, short of the goal line by an inch. It sucks. But yeah, obviously, Bill Belichick trying to get fired, bro. This is the new wave, man. Get old, get a head coaching job at a big-ass college, and then just fucking play like ass. Like, that's all it is, bro. He wants to be at Chapel Hill so bad. He wants to just enjoy the rest of his life with his fucking teenage girlfriend, bro. Like, living a life, man. Like, 80 fucking 4. Anyways, we go to the American for this one. The USF Florida Bulls. Number 18 in the country with 1 loss going into Memphis. Brandon Lewis, we didn't know if he was going to play. He was in a boot last game. He said, yes, I'm playing. I'm a senior. I don't got nothing to lose. Fucking, you can take off my right ankle and I'll still play. Just give me a fucking, a metal fucking plate in my leg and I'll do it. He was able to upset the USF Bulls, and now this basically eliminates them from winning the American in Memphis. They lost last week to UAB. Yes, the same UAB that is fucking like 1-9 or some shit at this point. They are basically gonna be controlling their own destiny. The 2 people above them, they play on their schedule in Navy and Tulane, and they already beat USF. North Texas could potentially be one of them ones as well in contest for this American Conference Championship. And it's good to highlight these because one of these teams could potentially get into the playoffs. It's an outlaw bid for the group of 5 or whatever it's called. And yeah, Brandon Lewis, man, he put up 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, and made it look pretty good in my opinion. Byron Brown was right there with him. He basically had to do everything: 269 passing and 121 rushing, with 44 being his long as a quarterback. It's crazy. 2 touchdowns. But yeah, shout out Memphis. They're able to bounce back from that bad loss to UAB. I didn't know if they was able to do it, but they ain't falling under the pressure. And now USF drops another game to make it 2 losses on the season. All right. We got this Nebraska team, which I don't know what I get at any week from Nebraska. They got a good running back in Emmett Johnson. He's actually a good running back. But as far as Dylan Raiola goes, it's just hard to watch him play because he tries to extend the play and beat Patrick Mahomes. Buddy, just take the sack, throw the ball out of bounds. That's all you need to do, bro. You're not Patrick Mahomes. But again, Preston Stone and Northwestern was close to upsetting them. Nebraska was able to hold them out. This defense is pretty good for Nebraska. And yeah, I say that they have no sacks or no tackles for loss. But I feel like the pressure was there, bro. Maybe just Northwestern's offense was that ass. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know how Nebraska does for the rest of their season. I don't know who they got left. Yeah, USC, Penn State, Iowa. They probably take 2 more losses. I'm not gonna lie, bro, because they barely beat Northwestern, and it was very close. And even though he only had 1 interception, bro, it still feel like this is the only game where he didn't have pressure, but he was still making it look harder than it actually was. But the game plan was definitely give Emmett Johnson the ball, bro, and just live off that. 27 carries for him. Dylan Raiola, they didn't want him to throw a lot, but he was able to still throw 16 for 22. He was efficient, but that's how much they're like not really trying to get him passing as much as possible. They're trying to rely more on Emmett Johnson, and I think that's the best option. Emmett Johnson, one of the leading rushers in the FBS. I think he's like top 5. If not, he's right outside. Another Big Ten matchup, we got Rutgers going on the road to Purdue. Yeah, I just highlighted this because KJ Duff, he had to step up, 6 receptions for 241 yards. Who was missing? It was fuck. How do I forget the name? KJ Duff, and then it was, hang on. I'm going to go to the roster. Hang on. Or no, I just go stats. KJ Duff is the number 2 on this team, and you got You got Ian Strong. Ian Strong is a potential NFL prospect. I forget his name. I don't know why every time. But even though KJ Duff, he only did this because he had 241 yards. He's usually number 2 on this team. He had to step up big for Rutgers, and they were able to win against Purdue. And Purdue kind of threw it away late. And yeah, Brownie's not a good quarterback. I don't give a fuck if it's not Brownie. His name is Brownie to me because he plays like ass. But Kelly McManus, he's a guy that threw for 359 yards, so he's potential on our schedule as in the Buckeyes. So I look at these games a lot because this guy can sling it and he has receivers that can catch it. It just happened that KJ Duff had to be the guy today because someone like Ben Black had to step up as well because of Ian Strong being out. So yeah. Shout out Rutgers, 4-4 in the season. They got the first win in Big Ten play, and Purdue is still winless, 0-5, 2-6 on the season. So somebody smells like shit, and it's both teams actually. Anyways, we got the in-state rivalry of Kansas State versus Kansas, and Kansas State blows them out. Yeah, I think Kansas State is one of the most lopsided rivalry games. I think Kansas State has won 17 straight. Yeah, 17 straight is kind of fucking wild. And Kansas had the potential to win. Like they low-key had a better roster than Kansas State does. But Jace Brown, he's a guy I like a lot. He's Avery Johnson's best connection on this team, and you know how much I glazed Avery Johnson. I had him at winning my Heisman this year. Don't forget. But Jace Brown is a really good wide receiver for this team, and it just happened this game. He had 4 receptions for 160 yards. Had a couple called back as well. But yeah, nothing really to see here. Just a belt to ass session, and Kansas was a receiver of that belt to ass. Now they're both 4-4, both playing for trash. Anyways, we got head coaches. This is the head coach game, I feel like, bro. Hugh Freeze trying to coach for his fucking job, and fucking Bobby Petrino is trying to make sure he keeps his job as interim head coach, trying to be the coach for next season. But it's not going to be this game. Taylor Green had a terrible game. He threw in the double coverage like twice, bro, and I'm like, yo, that's just not a pass we want to throw. Taylor, you're a senior. You know better than that. But the biggest story coming out this game is Hugh Freeze's job was on the line. Jackson Arnold got benched after throwing a pick 6 at the end of the second quarter, and Ashton Daniels, a transfer from Stanford, comes in and is able to close the game out. 6 for 8, 77 yards for Ashton Daniels, and it was a lot of field goals. The field goal, where's the field goals at? I don't even go down this far. Kicking. Shout out Alex McPherson, 6 for 6 on field goals. 47 was his long, 100%. That's the only reason they won this game, bro. This dude is a fucking GOAT, bro. 6 for 6 is crazy.
We need him,
bro. Nah, bro, he needs to stay on Auburn, bro. They need him more than us, bro. We don't kick field goals all that often. Ashton Daniels, though, it looks like they're going to go forward with him as quarterback, and Jackson Arnold, I don't know how many years of eligibility they got left. He's a junior, so he's probably going to have to go to another team. It's going to be his 3rd team in 3 years. Yeah. So the Auburn experiment with Jackson Arnold is basically over with, in my opinion, unless Ashton Daniels like his ass next week. Obviously, they're going to throw Jackson Arnold in. And Hugh Freeze, in the beginning of the week, was like, yeah, we're going to look at potential other options at quarterback, and they basically threw Jackson Arnold out there to see what he could do. He threw a pick 6, a terrible fucking pick 6. There was like a minute left, bro, and I was like, why are you throwing that? It was like just a check down on a comeback route, 5 yards, and he threw it, and the quarterback was just looking at him. He stopped to like play it off, and then just zoom. Right when he was seeing the throwing motion, he was like, yeah, you're a dumbass. Taking it to the crib. And that was literally all. And you see Arkansas put up 21 points. That pick 6 was so costly for them. And yeah, they were down 21-10.5. So it was like, yo, we're down 2 possessions. Yeah, we're throwing in Ashton Daniels, and he played pretty well. Jeremiah Cobb is the biggest guy in this offense that continues to show out every week. 28 carries for 153 yards carried this offense. Only one that can make his own magic. Cam Coleman again, 2 receptions, 27 yards. Yeah, he has no one to throw to, or no one to throw to him. So I don't know what to do at this point for Auburn. Hugh Freeze just trying to fight for his job, and hopefully he can just win the Alabama game and again just keep his job for another year. Because that's just all that matters for Auburn for the most part. All right, we got a sneaky Big Ten team. Minnesota, they had Dylan Raiola in a box last week, fucking throwing, I think it was like 9 sacks, 7 sacks, 8 sacks, something like that. They go on the road to Iowa and get that belt laid on their backside, and Jake Lindsey didn't look like the quarterback I thought he was last week. I was like, damn, this dude, Jake Lindsey, can actually make some fucking throws. He threw 3 interceptions in this game. Basically, it wasn't close by any means, bro. It wasn't close by any means. I think Iowa took their foot off the gas maybe in the second half. They only scored 10 points in the second half. They could have been a lot more. But Gronowski doing his job, and it was very efficient. I'm pretty sure this game had it started off with Iowa throwing, I think, a pick 6, and then what's it called? It was a pick six, and then it was a punt six, like back to back. So yeah, basically Minnesota just didn't want this game. Iowa is now a sneaky team that could be ranked 6-2 overall, 4-1 in Big Ten play. Their only loss in Big Ten play being Indiana, and then they lost to Iowa State early in the season. So they got yeah, they got some matchups coming up.
Wow.
So yeah, if Iowa is really legit, we'll see.
Iowa on
And
the
then
rise again. Wow. You know, I thought they had.
I think
I mean, they hit rock bottom. The only way you can go is go up. But you know, somehow some team keep going farther down. But not for Iowa. It seems like.
it feels like after that Iowa State loss, Gronowski has been a lot better, in my opinion. But Kamari Moulton, 15 carries for 75 yards, it felt like a lot more. He was just like grounding and pounding, bro. He was just doing whatever he fucking wanted on that defense, bro. So shout out Moulton. He's the guy to keep an eye on, in my opinion, because the way Caleb Johnson was in that offense last year, is looking like Moulton just can take over. NC State, the Wolfpack are trying to just eliminate Pittsburgh from ACC play at all. CJ Bailey, Hollywood Smothers, one of the best duos that probably don't be on this NC State team for the near future. Hollywood Smothers, one of the best running backs in the country, in my opinion. Should hit the transfer portal and get paid. CJ Bailey kind of in the same boat. Not as efficient as he once was, but this game he didn't have interception, but I'm pretty sure he had a fumble that was lost. Very crucial. But yeah, Pittsburgh in there. Mason Heinschel, freshman quarterback, was able to get it done. Threw for 423 with 3 touchdowns. So this guy is pretty legit and is able to turn around this whole Pittsburgh organization or college when he stepped in, and now is trying to just do the impossible and try to get Pittsburgh to an ACC championship. It's not really in their hands, but they can control if they win or lose every week, and they're winning every single week. So yeah, 2 pass catches with 100 yards. Shout out Heinschel. He's really made a big difference to the Pittsburgh offense and his team as a whole. So again, another win for Pittsburgh. Oklahoma State. Yeah, we're 1-7 now. 1-5 in Big 12 play. Man, I don't know how this team is still like in the Big 12, bro. Their contract got to be up with the Big 12 or some shit, bro. I don't know, bro. They need trades. They need to cut this team, bro, because this smells like shit. Yo, 0 points is kind of fucking crazy, bro. But this man, this Texas Tech defense did exactly what I expected it to do. Showed up and showed out. Will Hammond again. He went down like I think in the second quarter or something like that. It was like a batted pass that turned into like an interception and shit, and he was like chasing it, and I don't know what happened, but he tore his ACL on that play apparently. And yeah, he's gonna be out for the rest of the year, and should take over reins next year because not Brendan Sorsby. Who's the guy? Nobody was paying attention, bruh. But Mitch Griffiths, it doesn't matter, bro. Whoever the fucking starter is, it's fucking oh, not Brendan Sorsby, bruh. Bro, y'all not the ball knowers, bro. That's all I know. I'll go to the Kent State game. Baron Morton. I need y'all to help me, bro. Like lock in, bro. But Texas Tech got upset last week. Went him and played good in the fourth quarter. He went to this game, played decent. Had a 21-0 lead at the start of the first. Anyways, Mitch Griffiths, I think he was a transfer. He's a transfer from Wake Forest. So he did 4 years at Wake Forest. Quit football in 2024. Came back for 2025 and finally got to be able to play. So yeah, good for him. He played pretty well. Was able to just throw the ball. 172 for him. And yeah, Cameron Dickey with 47 yards. Not really like him. Didn't need him. But this is a dominant win. But in the future, now Morton's gonna be they could have played Morton in this game, but now Morton's going to be the starter for here on out. Hopefully he stays healthy, but Mitch Griffiths didn't look that bad in the game, but it is Oklahoma State. They're garbage. We know that. But Kansas State, BYU, UCF, and West Virginia. Baron Morton had the potential to lead this team to an undefeated, or not an undefeated team. I mean, I guess he's undefeated when he's playing. But yeah, they're trying to get into the Big 12. They get a matchup with BYU, so hopefully that Morton team and that defense can hold up against the freshmen. And Baron Morton's a senior, so if he gets beat by a freshman, that just shows how good Bear Bachmeier is, in my opinion, not the team. But individual players, shout out to Texas Tech. Baylor goes on the road to Brendan Sorsby. This is what I was talking about the whole time, bro. Heisman candidate, top 10. I've seen a couple watch lists with him on it. He played very well. 85 yards on the ground for him. It's the most he's had since the week 1 against Nebraska. So when Brendan Salisbury can run the ball, and he's a decent runner, but this just happened to be the most yards he's had since I think it was like close to 100 yards rushing in the Nebraska game. Brendan Salisbury's him. Not much to say. It just sucks that Baylor kind of had the fall off that they had. Michael Trigg again got just clamped this game. They took him out the game again this second straight week where he was kind of like an NFL tight end and now kind of an afterthought in this offense. Unfortunately, they can't find a way to get him open. They need to. But shout out Michael Turner Jr. I don't know where he came from, but he had 90 yards on the ground. Moving on, we got SEC play. We got Texas surviving. I'm gonna let Slicks take it away. How do we feel?
Yeah, I tuned in for fucking 5 minutes and I immediately turned the fucking channel off, bro. This
All right.
it's just like, bro, like this is fucking Mississippi State, and this is fucking Texas Longhorn, bro. This is not the expectation Texas should be doing. But you know, Archman got hurt, and that's the only thing. That's the only thing I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. And I'm pretty sure that was towards the end of the game, anyways, right? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Overtime.
it's like, I mean, you better hope he come back. You know, next game. I don't know, even though it seemed like he's on concussion protocol, but you know, Texas. I don't know, how did fucking Caldwell do? I mean, he came in for
1-for-1. He came in next play and threw a touchdown pass and won the game for him, basically.
Yeah, I mean, got the job done. So I mean, I guess y'all got a little bit of promise, but we'll see, bro. I don't know, bro. I don't got much to say, bro.
Shout out Texas, they got the win. It wasn't pretty at all in the second straight week that they kind of like slipped up against one of the lower SEC teams in Kentucky last week, Mississippi State this week. Them kettlebells at Mississippi State was pissing me off. I don't know why that's tradition, but fuck them. They were down 17 in the fourth quarter, scored 24 points to make it overtime. Going to overtime, Arch Manning gets injured on the first play. The second play, Matthew Caldwell just gonna throw that ball and 100% QBR, one of the best in college football, obviously, 1-for-1. So yeah. He should be in the Heisman votes by next week. Blake Shapen, he did his thing, bro. Davon Booth, bro, he did his thing. Like, you did everything you needed to do, bro, and you still let Texas come back, bro. It was like a kick six or a punt six or some shit, bro. I'm like, they can't even throw Arch out there to just throw the ball. It had to be a fucking punt six to tie the game, bro. They couldn't. I really wanted to see fucking Arch Manning get tested. He couldn't. Shout out Ryan Wingo, 184 yards on 5 receptions. Definitely needed. Played up to his potential. Ryan Wingo's the best pass catcher on this team. Starter Parking Livingston, know he's there. But yeah, again, Texas survives. But Texas has a Vandy matchup, a Georgia matchup, and a Texas A&M matchup in the next 3 out of 4 weeks. So, yeah, good luck with that. And I see a lot of losses for Texas in the near future if they don't get it together. But also, since we're talking about Texas, we could talk about Sark. Sark basically had to address NFL rumors because before the game happened, someone leaked or tried to like spin a narrative that Sark had potential job offers or wanted to go to play at the next level at the NFL level, and he basically had to address the team and be like, yeah, this isn't true, so yeah, I don't know why you can only hear it in one.
Can make a report that in turn the entire media sports world runs with as factual, to the point of my agency and
you can't hear?
Nah, I can, bro. I can, bro. I just hate that. It's only in one of my ears, bro.
With me for a second, because it really pisses me off that one person can make a report that in turn the entire media sports world runs with as factual, to the point of my agency and my agents have to put a statement out that they never have done. Historically, CAA, Jimmy Sexton, and Ed Manowitz have never do that. But I had to do that to protect my locker room and my team. And I thought it was absolutely ridiculous. I thought it was completely unprofessional of that person to put that report out. And the fact that everybody ran with it is borderline embarrassing for the media. And I respect what you guys do. I really do. And everybody else. But the fact that everybody ran that as truth is really embarrassing. Okay, so I've got a small circle when I make decisions on what I do and what I don't do. And nobody would speak on my behalf without me knowing. And so where that report came from, I'd love to talk to that person because it's absolutely ridiculous. I'd love to.
Damn.
So yeah, he basically denied the rumor. So there's that. But yeah, shout out Texas. It's just whenever you hear head coaches get other job offers or things of that nature, Lane Kiffin kind of spoke on it a little bit. Where hey, if you're doing good, or people think you're doing good, they want you at their college or NFL team. TCU goes to West Virginia and kind of struggles. This is a TCU team that basically has to play perfect if they want a chance to the Big 12 championship and or playoffs. They kind of did that. They made it look ugly. Scotty Fox, the true freshman quarterback. I said West Virginia has a quarterback problem, and Scotty Fox basically denied that, and basically had the best game up to this point, 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he should be their quarterback for the future. And shout out him for getting them pass catchers in. Look at all these 3 receptions, 5 receptions, 6 receptions. Made it very close, and yeah, West Virginia finally found the quarterback. TCU found her, I guess, footing. Josh Hoover got nothing to lose. He's a senior, so he's just trying to be here as long as possible. Play as many games as he can. Texas again. Don't need to see that twice. Ugly ass game. Oregon handles business but struggles a lot. Dante Moore got hit in the nose, I think, in the 3rd quarter. Went out for the rest of the game. Brock Thomas came in and basically was able to close it out. He was available if needed. They didn't feel like it was needed because Wisconsin can't score a fucking bucket to save their fucking life. Yeah, this Wisconsin offense is fucking trash. They finally scored points, so good for them. It took you fucking until the 4th quarter to do that. I was kind of happy for them. But yeah, it was 7-21. Not the Oregon number you really are familiar with, especially against a bad Wisconsin team. And yeah, they were able to get it done. But Dante Moore should be available. He's available in this game, like I said. Nothing crazy, but his nose is definitely leaking crazy. It was like a forearm across the face mask, into the face mask, and like, it was kind of awkward.
Damn.
Got Boston College going to Louisville, and yeah, Louisville continues to get it done week in and week out. Miller Moss, Isaac Brown, Chris Bell, one of the best 3 in their respective categories. Isaac Brown, 200 yards on the ground, 187 for Miller Moss, and Chris Bell, 49 yards, not as effective. But yeah, Boston College, I think James is a pretty good quarterback, pretty decent quarterback. I don't watch Boston College games all like that, but he was able to do his thing right then and there. But yeah, Louisville continues to win. Again, they're fighting for the ACC championship spot. Little brother versus big brother. Again, year in and year out, bro. It's the same thing, bro. The little brother is always Michigan State. They always have been that. Aiden Childs had a decent game. Not as effective with his arms, more with his legs, but had -7 rushing yards. But talk about, this is a track meet, bro. There was a lot of running going on. That's all I seen. Justice Haynes, 152. Jordan Marshall, 110. Bryce Underwood didn't really throw. Used a lot of his legs as well. Where's he at? 26 yards. He had a touchdown run as well. And yeah, Michigan just played their game, played their defense, and won the game. It was a lot closer than this, it looked a lot closer than this. They scored 13 points in the 4th quarter to make it look a little close. Michigan had the upper hand for the most part. Michigan State, everything was just hard for them, and that's just what Michigan defense does to you. Tennessee at Kentucky put up 56 points on Kentucky. This is just what Joey Aguilar and Chris Brazzell, Mike Matthews missed from last game. The downfield presence. Throw it up to Brazzell, bro. 50 yards is long. 62 is Mike Matthews long. This is what you need. You got 3 fucking receivers in 100-yard territory. 56 for Braylon Staley. I think he was the leading receiver from last week. This is exactly what the potential of Tennessee offense can do against a decent Kentucky offense or defense. But as far as offense goes, Cutter Boley's still that guy. 330 yards, 5 touchdowns. He did as much as he could out there. But yeah, people are telling Cutter Boley to get out of Kentucky. There's nothing you could do, bro. You can't say this team. You just need to get out and play your potential somewhere else at a bigger school. But yeah, shout out Cutter Boley. Definitely his best game to season, I guess, to game. Houston goes and beats Arizona State. Yo, I'm about to fucking I have some chocolate I'm gonna give a dog later. Arizona State loses to Houston. Sam Levitt went in and out this game multiple times. In the 2nd quarter, he left. He came back in the second. He went out, I think, late in the 1st quarter or maybe early 2nd quarter, and then came back later in the game, and then got injured again, and then he's gonna be out next game. So what the fuck is Arizona State doing? They're battling injury. The injury bugs got to them, and they get their 3rd loss. They're finally ranked and lost to Houston. Connor Wigman is him. 100 on the yard, on the ground, 200 in the air. This dude is everywhere, bro. I'm not gonna lie, bro. He played so well this game. I was so surprised by it. Dean Connors, 20 carries for 48 yards. Shout out him. He's a name that usually jumps off the stat sheet a couple times. But Malik McClain, he's a senior. I think he's like the 5th-year senior or something like that. We could take a look. Yeah, bro. He's been everywhere around the country, bro. Florida State, Penn State, Arizona State, bro. If you got state in your name, he probably been to your shit. I'm not gonna lie, bro. He came out of nowhere. I think he had only a couple receptions. going into this game. And yeah, he put up 159, bro. They found some late pressure or late sparks for Arizona State, and Jeff Sim wasn't a terrible quarterback, but once Sam Leather went down, it was kind of like, yeah, this game isn't gonna this Arizona State ain't gonna live up to its potential, and they cannot afford Sam Leather to be out because they got Iowa State, West Virginia, Colorado, and Arizona, all decent teams, but with Arizona State losing their quarterback and Jordan Tyson should be back. Yeah, this team is not the same by any means. So good luck to Arizona State in their endeavors out of the Big 12 race. Speaking of Big 12 race, you got Colorado getting their ass beat by fucking Utah, and Utah now loses 6-2, still trying to fight for that Big 12 championship spot. But this is not good. This is not good. We're in the middle of the season, late in the season, and Caden Salter is getting play calls where he's and they start speaking to his team. I'm like, what the fuck are they calling? Where your faces? Like, he was lost. He was like, yo, what the fuck are they saying in my ear right now? Where, what? Bro, I'm not gonna lie, bro. This Utah team is crazy for putting up 17 and 26. And I'm looking at this like, damn, when did they score this much? But, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, bro. You could look at all these stats. It doesn't mean shit, bro. Ryan Staub got in the game, bro, so you know it's bad. Kane Salter, a guy that came from Liberty, got paid this bag to transfer, and now is looking like fucking ass cheeks out there. I blame the coaching staff, bro. I'm not gonna lie, bro. The fact that the quarterback is making that face, bro, it shows how bad the play calling is. And I've seen the play call bad on the field, bro. I'm like, yo, what, yo. Just gonna calm down a little bit, man. My boy Michael Welch got fucking 6 carries for 4 yards, bro. This shit infuriating, bro. I'm not gonna lie, bro. Like, these stats look so ass because there's different positions like playing and shit, bro. Because Utah was just doing whatever they want here. Shout out Utah, man. They're 6-2. Colorado's ass. We knew that, but they got 17 coming to town. Coming to town. And yeah, Baylor, Kansas State, Kansas. They can't let up. They got to play perfect up to this point to even have a chance at the Big 12 standings. But again, they're one of the teams that don't really control their own destiny because they lost Texas Tech and lost to BYU. They got to hope somebody else can, but they could beat this no-loss Cincinnati team in conference play. So Utah is looking on the outside in, but just hoping every Saturday that comes on, they're watching a lot of these teams to see if they lose. So shout out Utah, and ranked again as well. Good for them. And that will conclude the 2-minute drill.
W.
And JS4 we trust.
Don't make sure you don't close your screen share. You'll fuck everything up. Camera wise for us. Anyway.
I know.
Just making sure. Just a quick little reminder. Alrighty, any final thoughts, VJ?
A lot of belt.
Yeah. That Colorado one, that I was like, oh, yeah.
Bro, I remember peeking that. It was late night. That was a late night game. I was like, oh yeah, hopefully Colorado, does something. I expect them to lose, but I was like, hopefully they put some numbers. Buddy, I saw 0. I was like, never mind. I'm gonna just go back to sleep.
That boy Deion Sanders was on the sideline. I'm like, what the? Talking to his.
Nah, bro. When I seen Caden Salter get the play call and he's looking like hella confused, he was like, and they started talking. I'm like, what the fuck? This dude should not be confused at the play call, bro. This dude is not like a freshman, bro. Like, he was dead ass like, what the fuck? Like, you could tell he wasn't saying anything, but he was just like making a face. I'm like, yo, this Colorado offense needs a lock in.
Yeah, that's great. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up here. This has been us, the One Foot In podcast. Obviously, remember, we are live this Thursday doing the preview into week 9, right? Week 10. Doing the preview to week 10. So if you guys are interested, go down the link in the description. It will be my link. It will take you to a little page. There's a link tree, and go click the Twitch link and go follow me over there. We're live Thursday, 8 p.m. EST. If you're interested, Buckeye Fan Fair Room. If you want to talk about all things Ohio State, we're willing to talk over there. Want to talk about week 9? We're willing to talk then. If you want to talk about the week 10, pull up, talk to us. But yeah, we're gonna wrap it up here. Appreciate you, Cam. Appreciate you, VJ, pulling up. Always giving us your in-depth analysis. But yeah, if you guys made it to the end of the video, consider clicking that like button. Also, if you're new to the channel, also consider clicking that subscribe button as it help out the channel a lot. But other than that, I appreciate all of the support. We catch you guys when we catch you next. Peace.